Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick video here on something I learned today. This is a 2015 Suzuki DF250, and I was having an overheat issue at idle only. I can tell you that the impeller was 3 years old. I went ahead and replaced it. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but went ahead and replaced it. I did find some corrosion on the thermostat, so I took them out. They're actually up here underneath this cowling. I'm not going to remove that. And I tested them in water on the stove. They both opened, but one of them was not opening fully, so I replaced them. And I still had an overheat issue at idle. I thought it was a temp sensor. There's 3 temp sensors that are up top here underneath this cowling as well. 2 exhaust and 1 that sits right in the middle of the thermostats, and those tested good. I actually researched how to ohm those out, and I still had an overheat issue only at idle. If I revved up the engine just a little bit, the overheat situation would go away, and I could run 100 miles offshore and back, and I wouldn't have an issue. So during that troubleshooting, the one thing that I did check that this engine has, like most outboard engines, is it has what used to be called a poppet valve, but is now called a water control valve or a water pressure control valve. And on this particular engine, this is a DF250, if you look in the midsection underneath this plate right here, I'm not going to take it back out. If you take those 2 screws out underneath there, there is a little valve that has a spring on the back of it. I took that out, and sometimes that can get trash in it and stay open, but the purpose of that particular mechanism is when pressure builds from the impeller going towards the top of the engine, that opens and relieves that pressure back down from here back down into the lower unit. So the water will come up. When it gets to this point, it comes into this cavity, and if there's not enough pressure, it just keeps on going. If there is pressure, it'll come back out and go down. Well, I found out that spring had gotten weak, and what it was doing is at idle, it was allowing too much water to come out of this and dump back down into the lower unit and not cool the engine well enough. Neither one of the dealers around here had that. One of the dealers said that they had actually never sold one. So what I did is I took the spring out of it and stretched it out and put it back in. And before I did that, obviously I blocked this off and tested it, and it actually immediately fixed my overheat issue. I just blocked that off and let it idle forever and fix my overheat issue. So I stretched the spring as a quick fix and put it back in until I can order a new one. But you know, maybe people are doing that, and that's why they're not ordering any. They're just stretching the spring back out. But it will run hot if that part right there fails on you. And I would just say that it's a wear item. It's $11 online, $13 at your dealer. When you replace your lower impeller, you probably want to replace that. The second thing I'll say is I put 2 brand new thermostats in this engine, and I just took them out as I was going through this last bit of troubleshooting to test, and one of them, brand new, was not opening all the way. So I looked at how the spring was attached inside of the thermostat housing there, and I just twisted the spring around and was able to get it where it would open all the way. It was just kind of caught. So this might be a good idea to check your thermostats, make sure that they're actually put together correctly when they're built. Once I did that, it opened up all the way, and I actually dropped the temperature down on my engine even more because that thermostat was not opening all the way. And it was actually the thermostat that cools this side of the engine. So this side right here was actually running warmer. And I just lasered this exhaust area right here. This is where this is an exhaust cover. I lasered it, and it's actually cooler now that the thermostat's opening all the way. So I have looked online for video after video, and the only thing I found was a little bit of forum on this particular item here, which I'd already checked, but I didn't know exactly what it did until I did a little research. This right here, underneath here, and I'm not going to pull it back out and show it to you, but if you open it up, you'll find a little poppet valve in there, a little valve that opens up with a spring. If that spring is weak, you will run hot at idle. So hopefully this actually helps someone. Again, this is a 2015 Suzuki DF250 V6 multi-stage injection. As you can see, it's basically a brand new motor. I think I've got maybe 120 hours on it. So just know that that is something that you're just going to have to replace or fix. Thanks, hope this helps.